Okay guys, welcome back to the channel. So as I told you on the last video you would have seen, which was revealing my new motorcycle that I purchased, I did say to you I had also purchased a new car. Now this car isn't going to be to everyone's liking, and any of you from the USA are not going to know what this car is at all because you just don't get them there at all. Now in the UK, this car is very popular for the more younger crowd. It's a lot of youngsters that end up liking these. They buy these before obviously they go on to have a family and have kids. And you know, there is obviously a handful of people that end up keeping them when they've got kids because some of them spend so much money on them. They just don't want to get rid of it because they never get the money back on what they've spent on the car, because a lot of them do need rebuilds because they end up falling into the wrong hands where people just blow them up because they redline them from cold. As many of you guys know, that's a common thing where people don't understand engines and to let the oil work itself around the engine to make sure everything's lubricated before flooring it and redlining it. And this car is a prime example of that. Many of you in the UK, when you see this car, you'll know exactly probably what car this is. And when I tell you the engine, you'll know exactly what I'm going on about. Now, I'm not going to sit here and lie. I've always been after one of these cars. And when it come up, it was a no-brainer. Now, the reason I picked this one over the other one, so when you guys see what car it is, you understand what I'm going on about, was purely because when you look at the other models and what I paid for this, I could have really gone and bought the more desirable one. But the reason I picked this one is because this one had been looked after. It was owned by a fully grown man who looked after it, maintained it, and the bodywork was pristine. It's been looked after all its life and hasn't been abused. When you go to the other examples, they're in the wrong hands. And yes, they have the same engine as what this one does underneath, but because of what they are ragged around, treated like crap, and a lot of them are falling apart. I went and looked at many of them, and every single one either had a ticking noise, was a blowing blue smoke, it was just rattling, or I'd get the seller return the call to me saying, oh, the engine's not running correctly, we need to get our mechanic to look at it, this, that, the other. Even though I was still hesitant, I would buy it off them, and then they would never return my calls because I told them I knew what I was looking at when coming down there. So I hope they weren't trying to pull a fast one, because I had many people that I went to view one of these cars trying to pull a fast one on me, and it didn't work because I knew what I was doing. And obviously it didn't work. And obviously then this one come up. Obviously I didn't like it at first because I thought, oh, it's not the full version. But when this one come up, it had so much done, it was just a no-brainer. And like I said, I can't even go over the spec list right now, but we will on the video of what this car's got. And when you guys understand what this car has had done to it, you will then understand why I picked this car over the other one. And like I said, this car isn't so much to focus on YouTube, even though many of you guys want me to, I will do the videos on here. This car is mainly to level up with TikTok, to attract the younger audience and to bring them in, because I know this car is light and quick, and yeah, it attracts that kind of audience because people know how quick these are. Anyone in the UK will know how quick these things are. So I'm not going to talk anymore. Let's get onto it and I'll show you what car it is that I purchased. Okay guys, so right here we have my new Vauxhall Corsa SRI Turbo, and this is a 2009 plate Corsa SRI Turbo, and this isn't your standard Corsa SRI Turbo. Now, many of you in the UK will know already about these, and there's a particular reason people love these, because these are related to the VXR engine, which is the Corsa VXR. Now, before I purchased this, I was looking to purchase a Vauxhall Corsa VXR, but as I said in the beginning of the video, most of them are neglected, been hammered, and all need rebuilds because they've fallen into the wrong hands. The reason I picked this is very simple. This was owned by a very mature, older guy around my age who had looked after it, put a lot of money into it, and maintained it correctly, which is very rare to find. This car is on, I believe, 98,000 miles as it stands right now. So it's still considered very, very low. It's a 1.6 turbo. It has been remapped. It's got a lot of modifications on it. Inside, it's got the whole VXR interior, which I'll go around and show you. It's also got the Nürburgring from the Vauxhall Corsa Nürburgring edition exhaust on the back. But this car is very, very pristine. Bodywork wise, wheel wise, and interior wise, it is one of the most pristine Corsas you will ever get. And it is very, very quick. It is not for the faint-hearted. Many people think, oh, the VXR has a bit more BHP than this, which they do, but this one has been remapped to the VXR standard BHP, which is 170, I believe, from 140, and now it's running 170. It's got a bigger turbo on it. It just had a new turbo before I purchased it. The guy put a new turbo on it because the wastegate actuator was playing up. It's also got a dump valve, obviously not too loud and not too chavvy on it as well. It's got a lot of different modifications on it. As I said, I'll run through them, but I'm going to show you in the interior so you guys can see inside it, and I'll show you all around it so you can see everything it's had done. So you guys can already see inside here, this has already got the Recaro bucket seats from the VXR. It's got the VXR gear shifter because it's a manual, VXR steering wheel, VXR clocks. It's got the VXR whole interior. Everything's been upgraded, even the door cards, the rear seats, the belts, I believe they're all red, which they are. You can probably see just here, even the belt buckles are all red. Everything has been upgraded on this to make it like a VXR inside. Someone put a lot of money into this, and as many of you guys know who from the UK, these Recaro bucket seats from the VXR are not cheap, and by any means, and they're very, very hard to get hold of because they're like the most desirable thing. Everybody wants to put them in their normal Corsas. So these weren't a cheap upgrade. It's also got the metal foot pedals as well from the VXR. And when I open the door, you'll see inside as well, it's got all red air vents and all different lighting, like LED lighting inside, all red window switches you can probably see as well, glowing. Everything is made like the VXR inside, and it is one extremely, extremely fast car. So obviously inside you can see here you've got all your red vents and all your VXR steering wheel. It's got touchscreen radio. It's extremely clean inside, extremely immaculate. It hasn't been messed with. No nonsense, no people ripping this out, ripping that out. It's got everything you can think in here. You know, it's perfect just for a quick little car. I know many people, especially in the US, you won't understand how fast these are, but in the UK, these are very, very quick cars, and they're very well underestimated by a lot of people. But trust me, when tuned and when properly souped up, these things can really, really hammer a lot of the big engine cars. These are very, very quick cars, and this one's no exception. It pops, it bangs. Obviously, when it's revved out, it does it all, but it's been looked after by a proper, mature, grown man. So that's what makes me very happy, and that's the reason why I purchased it. So you get to see inside it all, and like I said, it is no crap. I paid good money for this car as well. I'm not going to sit here and even lie, try and make it I paid cheap for it. I paid $2,900 for this car, which I think's an excellent, excellent deal for the condition of it, because as many of you guys know, you paid it for a VXR and it is not in this condition with no wear to the steering wheel. The seats ain't all damaged, everything missing or everything been pulled out. This one is a complete exception to all the rest, and this is one of the reasons why I gave the money for it, because I know it's been mechanically looked after. On the rear there you can see it says OPC line, so it's got the sticker there as well. It's been all debadged everywhere as well. It's got the smoked rear tail lights as well, and you can see right there it's got the Nürburgring exhaust on here, which is actually from a Vauxhall Corsa Nürburgring edition, which they found and put on this car. So like I say, it hasn't no cheap crap that's been fitted to this car. This car has been looked after by the older enthusiasts. This was an enthusiast car, and they literally put every single expensive item they could onto this car. And this is one of the reasons why I selected it when it come up. Many of you, like I say, will say I overpaid for it because it's an SRI. Many of you will agree with me as to why I purchased this, because many of you will know how many VXRs there are out there that are literally thrashed around from cold, never allowed to warm up, never allowed to cool down, when they've been thrashed around and just literally hammered, and you can't find a good one for love nor money. And this is why when this come up, I had to have it, because it had a lot of extras that you will not find on the VXR. And this exhaust, you know, stands out a lot. And you guys know me, I like to be different. I like to stand out, and this one certainly does stand out from the crowd, being in grey as well. So it, you know, it really does stand out, especially with all the mods. And like I say, it pops and it bangs and it really, really goes. I mean, this car can keep up on my 630i, no problems whatsoever. Literally, it will just smoke the 630i. So yeah, it is a really, really quick car for what it is. It may be light, it may be low BHP, but it is seriously, seriously quick. You can see there as well on the door cards, it's got the Courtney Sport. They're the people that actually owned it. They're the people that remapped it. They're the people that actually made this car what it was before the older guy that I purchased it from decided to sell it on to me. He purchased it from them. He knew the car. They built this car up. So yes, they know everything about it. So maybe if you guys want to tag them or anything, they'll recognize this car. They'll know everything about this car because they're the ones that done it. And like I said, I'll read over the whole engine spec list from what this Courtney Sport done, because they're the ones who built this car into what it is today. And if any of you guys are probably interested in having this done on yours, you can go to them because when I read out the spec list. So as many of you guys know now, this is under the bonnet, and this is the infamous Z16 LER Vauxhall engine. This is the Ecotec engine. These things are known for being oil guzzlers. Well, at least they are on the normal 1.6 and the 1.8 engines. These 1.6 turbos ain't so bad. I know the old ZX16 XP ones, they used to drink oil like anything. I know a lot about Vauxhall because I used to work on them a hell of a lot. So Vauxhall is one car that I started on before BMW. And I know everything there is to know about Vauxhall and how their mechanical issues run, because you guys got to remember as well, Vauxhall and Saab engines were using Vauxhall engines in their Saabs and putting turbochargers on them. So that's where this 1.6 turbo engine actually comes from, because Saab engines are basically the 2-litre version of the Ecotec engine with a turbo bolted to them as well. So coil packs from a Saab are the same that they'll fit into a Vauxhall as well. Exact same thing, no different. Most parts from a Saab engine will fit onto a Vauxhall engine because they're exactly the same. A lot of people ain't aware of that, but they are. I've worked on both brands, so I know both of them. I've pulled out Saab engines, I've stripped them down as well, so I know them engines like the back of my hand, just same way I know these engines. Like I said, these things are notorious for the coil packs going out, which sit along here. They are known for the valve covers to start leaking onto the manifold. They're known for the EGRs to start clogging up or sticking and causing the car to go all over the, like jerking all over the place. They're known for the ECUs overheating, which sit on top of the, back here on top of the manifolds as well. So you've got to be careful of that. Obviously, there's a lot of known issues on these, but if you're aware of them, you can solve them very, very easily. You'll see here we've got a cold intake pipe, again by Courtney Sport. This is one of their own. None of this funny air filters in here, which is when I went to see a lot of the VXRs, they had a cone filter in here. The whole engines were a mess. It was just horrendous. I'd never seen anything like it, and that's what put me off buying one. I saw 3 of them, and every single one had a cone filter underneath, and they just didn't run as quiet and silent as this one. Obviously, you've got your charge pipe right here as well for your turbo, which has been replaced as well, which goes off to the intercooler. The guy who actually owned it had an upgraded intercooler, so he actually put this one back on when we went to buy it because he didn't want to sell it with it. He also had boost gauges in there, in the air vents as well, and oil temp sensors in there, because as many of you guys know, being a turbocharged car, the oil temperature is critical, that it's at the right temperature before you start redlining it and everything else. But yes, this car's had it all done, and now I'll just read out some of the things that this car's actually had done to it so many of you guys can get an understanding of what's actually on this car. So my bad, it's not 170 bhp that's on this engine, it's actually 205 bhp with the Courtney remap. It's also got a Nürburgring turbo and manifold fitted, which was done in 2022. It's got a JR air filter and a standard air box, which is fitted as well. It's got a 6-speed M32 fitted with the larger bearings, because many of you guys know the gearbox on these, the bearings are weak and end up losing a 3rd, 4th and 5th on them. It's got a Drexler LSD from the Nürburgring models fitted to this as well, with new bearings, so it's also got an LSD. It's got a pre-cat delete. It's got a standard main cat and Nürburgring system with the twin tailpipes, as you guys saw. It's got the Courtney STX coilover kit. It's got a road and track setup, so it's ready for road and track. Obviously, it's got so much other things in it. It's got Corsa VXR single piston calipers, disc and pads, air ducts and lower arms. It's got grooved disc, EBC pads. It's got the Vauxhall XP styling pack. It's got the VXR seats and door cards, as many of you guys saw, VXR steering wheel, red and white lighting, red seat belts. You know, it's got just everything on it you can ever think of. It's got, obviously, it's got some other bits on it, which I'm not too sure of, but they're just a modification. So as I said, it was meant to be 170 bhp, but I got completely confused. It's actually 205 bhp with the remap. So this is why it is so quick. I think the standard on these is 170, and it's been remapped to 205 bhp, which is safe because Courtney Sport is very well known in the Vauxhall community. I wasn't sure of them at first until I looked them up, but now I'm sure of them. You know, they know what they're doing. They do this day in, day out for track use and road use. And like I said, everything runs so pristine on this car. It's literally a dream to drive it, and it's just silly quick. I thought my Mini Cooper S was fast, but this is ridiculously fast, like ridiculously fast. And then it's just literally mind blowing. And hey, it's not like the Minis where you got to worry about it blowing up with the Prince engine, where the valve stem seals go and things like that. At least with this, it's reliable, it's quick, it's still a turbocharged 1.6, which many people go through the Mini Cooper S's over that. But this thing will outblack the Mini Cooper S in no time. This is ridiculously quick for a car. I'm having that LSD on it and the gearbox now done. The gearbox has got like, where they've upgraded, it's like having a quick shifter. So it just slots into the next gear and it's just literally gone. So yeah, I've enjoyed driving it. And like I said, guys, I hope you're happy with the car, but this is gonna be main focus. The only thing I haven't got proof of is the cam belt ever being changed. So I'm gonna have to change the cam belt on this and the water pump just to be on the safe side, because you know, they could have done it, but I haven't got no proof of it. Even though I've got a full folder of history of this car, I don't want to take no chances. So I am going to be replacing the cam belt on this and the water pump, probably change the oil, might upgrade the intercooler. I know the turbo's just been done. The turbo's brand new. You can probably see it down there. The wastegate's all brand new. So I won't be playing about with that at all, but we will be upgrading probably the intercooler back again and fitting obviously our boost gauge and our oil pressure gauge. But that is this Corsa SRI Turbo. So there you have it, guys. I've now shown you the new car I actually purchased. And as I said, that isn't really for this channel. Many of you might say to me to do videos on it. Some of you might not, but I really purchased this for the TikTok community because the youngsters on there are crazy about these cars. And many people already know, there's a lot of YouTubers out there already as well, that know the damage these cars can do. Like to normally big cars, you would not expect a small car like this to actually destroy bigger cars, and these cars do go on to destroy bigger and better cars, more expensive cars, because of how quick they are. And this one is no joke. I know people think, haha, I'm just talking crap here, but I'm really not. This car really does handle like it's on rails. Like with that LSD, the steering is so tight at high speeds, you literally can just go flying around the roundabout. It's so light, so quick, and the turbo just cuts in straight away and it's literally gone, you know. It is a really, really, really quick car for what it is. For 205 bhp, I think the standard is 170, this is 205. But as I said, I know these engines very, very well. And this car is no exception with the coilover kit, the LSD, and that exhaust, obviously, it just makes this car really, really good. And like I said, it's been looked after, it's been in the right hands all its life, and it's still in the right hands. Like I said, if I sold this and this got into some young boy's hands, it wouldn't last 5 minutes. This will either be wrapped around a lamppost, wrapped around a tree, or found in a ditch. Because of how quick it is, they would just lose it on going around a corner, or lose it, you know, by hammering it around a roundabout. Anywhere else, they will just try and boost it around there and it will just end up going over the roundabout. But this car is not one of them that I want to see that happen to. Like you guys know, I purchased it in grey to match my Porsche. I've got a thing for grey cars, and the bodywork is literally immaculate. I don't have to touch it. The tyres are all brand new. Brakes are all EBC and brand new, drilled and grooved. Everything is just perfect. The only thing it needs doing is the cam belt, water pump and oil, and that's what we're going to get onto. Probably in a couple of videos we'll start doing this, because I've got to order it all in, but we're going to start getting onto it because I want to get this car perfect, because I want to actually start enjoying it and driving it. Because like I said, every time I drive it, it just, you know, literally, you know, there's certain cars, like I say, the Porsche brings a smile to your face, but this, you know, will have you giggling, especially when the turbo cuts in. It will stick you to your chair. It's literally really, really good fun. And like I say, it's a fun car. Do you know what I mean? It's a fun car to drive, fun car to, you know, take on the roads, and especially a fun car when people try it of you on the roads as well. This is just perfect for that. It's a what I like to call a bully vehicle. It's one of them cars that are subtle, but if people try and push you, you know, and try and tempt you to race them, then they'll find out what this car is all about. So as I said, guys, thank you very much for watching. It's BMW Dr. Dean here, and goodbye.